Alright, let's play our favorite game. Guess what fleet it is? Alright, up top, ANS, Medal of Kathleen and Babette. Gonna go ahead and say those are 450 Axfords. Down here we have ANA. Not sure what that is. OP4 Big Boy. Let's see if he drops anything else. Otherwise, that's most likely a battleship. In TKN, gonna guess some more 450 Axfords. Yeah, Big Boy is a BB. Yeah, I figured. On the other side, ANS Blunt. Looks like... Not sure. These are a little bit harder. Oh, out of time. Oh, was I completely wrong? And these are destroyers up top. I can't win them all. Beam cannon destroyers. Only 2 of them. And a 450 backpack. Axford. Totally lost out on that one. Meanwhile, over here, a rail Axford. That is hopefully, yes, going with more beam DDs. A lot of DDs this game. Over here, alright, we did get one. There is a beam battleship on the left flank. It's accompanied by an E-War frig. Other support is going to be a gun frig going with this Axford. On the OSP side, S3s? Hold on. I have to confirm this. Yes, it is a torpedo Ocello. 2 of them. I can confidently say I have never seen this before. I have no idea how this is going to work, but I would guess not very good. We'll have to see. Meanwhile, over here is a rail line. 2 mass drivers. They're on the wrong side of the map. But they're there. And EWR plus long range radar. Has the man brought track correlators? No. Unfortunate. Meanwhile, on the right flank is going to be a 450 line ship. That's backed up with an LRT, a 250 swarm and PD, and T-30s. Are those T-30s? No, that's flak. Plus a mass driver monitor, a solo mass driver monitor. Interesting. And this is a S2 line ship, and it has an E-War and a long-range radar. Completing the bunch. So, lots of radar coverage for the OSP team. So many things I have never seen before. I have never seen mass driver line ships go to the bottom instead of the top. I have never seen torpedo Ocellos. So I actually have no idea how this game is going to end. Lots of escort DDs on the ANS side. I do like that a lot. One of the shortcomings of ANS is the ability to deal with shuttles and really, really fast ships, and the beams are amazing at killing shuttles. As long as they're on target before they come around the corner. If they're not on target, they're actually worse than something like 250 RPF. But if you can see them coming and you get a beam on it, the shuttles just die instantly to beams. Maybe better served with a lot, some spotting radar on the ANS. I don't see too much of that. All of these fleets are self-contained. So, but luckily they don't have to worry about it because there's none of that on OSP this time. As far as plays, we have these mass driver line ships moving around and to the left. Meanwhile, these Ocellos firing a couple of torpedoes. Absolutely no chance these hit. We've got a PD or a gun frig, and it's supported with defenders and stone walls. Time to watch some torpedoes die. And there they go. Stone walls, just so amazing right now. Not that it matters, they're going for chaff. Unfortunate. I'm trying to think what the fire of these even are. I don't see any. They have no bus arrays. They're purely launching, I guess, 2 torpedoes each. That does not fill me with hope for this fleet. They are able to launch quickly, but perhaps when mixed in with these S2s will be enough. Wow. Those are very fast S2s. They are booking it. Looks like they've spotted this Axford. That's what they want to engage. See if we can catch both on the screen. Some of those S2s did make it into contact. Meanwhile, up here, see if any of the torpedoes connect. Looks like no, they are being seduced by the chaff. Let's see, meanwhile, more missiles coming out against this 450 Axford down here. It's trying to back up. It doesn't want any more of that. Meanwhile, on the other side, some S3Hs potentially dealing devastating damages to these tugs. One hits. That is most likely a mission killed tug. Meanwhile, more S2s slam into this Axford. That might be all she wrote for this guy. It's lost all of its restores, and it has reactors going critical. At the very least, it's a mission killed ship. Well, its drive is still alive. It could possibly putter around for a couple more minutes. Unfortunately, I think this player is not aware of the scram feature and is going to be blowing up shortly. Let's see what else happened. So that tug did get taken out. It has a fire burning. That's probably not good news for it. It can't restore anything. It does have potentially could get back into the fight. Let's see. Meanwhile, this Axford fleet pushing the right flank will at some point run into the mass drivers of this OSP fleet. When it does at this range, it is going to be absolutely a slaughter in favor of the ANS. These mass drivers in this position are letting this fleet get incredibly close to it. The only safety they really have is distance, which they're not going to have any of when this fleet makes it around the bend. Unfortunately, there's no EWR coverage right now because this tug has been parked behind a rock and is not able to see anything that it's looking for. That is a very unfortunate position for this tug to be in. If it was a couple thousand meters to the left, it would have seen this coming, and these ships would have been able to do something. Instead, they're going to get rolled up on. And there goes that Axford as predicted. They are going to get absolutely rolled on by this combined destroyer and CA fleet when it makes it around the corner. None the wiser until it happens. The BB has moved around on the right flank, unopposed, unfortunately. It really would like to get cannons on something, I'm sure. Let's see, at least it is making good speed towards either A or B. Unfortunately, OSP has the opportunity here with that kill on that Axford to take A. Unfortunately, nothing is moving towards there to take it. If only they had something to take A, this could have been a good points advantage. Instead, the points stay even. More of these incredibly fast S2s. I wonder if I'm just not aware of how fast they move. It looks really, really fast, though. Able to score one hit, it looks like. Potentially more. They're chasing down the flak, but it is enough to avoid between that and the chaff. Meanwhile, the return 450 fire, not able to strike home. There's no fire control lock on this line ship. A little bit of a lull in the action. Let's see what this battleship is doing. This battleship is... well, it's having a good time off by itself, that's for sure. This is a rail Axford. I have no idea what is happening here. I'm questioning life. I feel like I'm just not in the know anymore. A mass driver line ship pair is about to engage a rail heavy cruiser at under 4 kilometers. I have nothing. I can contribute none. Unfortunately, there is some flak available. About to drive into this minefield. Don't see too much PD available. Let's see what these hybrids get up to. Looks like being lasered and destroyed is what they are about. Will they be able to hit this line ship? They do. For a little bit of damage. This is the slow, calculated ballet here between... I actually have no idea what is going to happen. Point blank rails versus point blank mass drivers. How I... Clearly this should be the last game I cast because I have no words for what is about to happen here. Luckily, for the OSP team, they finally sussed this out. They are moving different ships to engage. It looks like these Ocellos are firing cruise torpedoes. Let's see if they have better luck against this fleet than they did against the solo Axford that was down there. Whatever happens, I'm all for it too. I would really love to see these two fleets engage each other before these torpedoes do something. A very risky shot, this, but it looks like they have curved around and are on target. The PD engaging. Some of them have not. This one is curving back around. Might have a wake or something, allowing it to do that. Or they've just been waypointed incredibly well. Well done to that player. Unfortunately, torpedoes in the defender meta really struggle to slam home. Even with corkscrew and other maneuvers, they just suffer so much from the enhanced algorithm that the PD now have access to. As they finally stop curving and track home, the defenders just do work between that and the flak. And I believe exactly 0 of these, exactly 0 torpedoes hit home.
The enemy is securing zone boxer.
Elsewhere in the map, this battleship continues to ride bikes off by himself. And there it is. They've seen each other. Here comes the beam. Here comes the attempt of counter battering. The weapons are pointed in the wrong way entirely. So, meanwhile, this other fleet, this other missile fleet, has not very many. Actually, yes, it still has plenty of missiles left. Wow, that was a. These must be very, very cheap missiles for him still to have that much left. Let's see if any of these mines manage to hit. They do not. And the mass drivers successfully run away. Meanwhile, B point falls to the ANS. The OSP team completely collapsed out in open space, just completely forfeiting the rest of the map. This BB has no one to play with. Hopefully, it's driving towards E. It looks like it might be just flying a straight course off into La La Land. And unfortunately, the Battle of the Rails has been completely anticlimactic, as instead these rails attempt to kill this decoy line ship. More torpedoes coming in from the top, where they are shredded in short order by the combination flak and defender fire. Even an Aurora gets in on it from one of the destroyers. Let's see if any of these make it through. Just continuing to get obliterated by defenders. Just so much. So tough. Torpedo life right now. Oh, one hit! One hit and took out the reactors. All that for one torpedo hit. However, these S2s don't have any of the same problems. Slamming into that destroyer and it is gone. Tumbling out of control. Has restores available. Let's see if it's actually... Nope. Torpedoes, now with the greatly reduced point defense network here of this fleet, might be able to pierce through. Elsewhere on the map, full retreat for the OSP, but it is a fighting retreat. They're not going down without taking some hulls with them. And although the rear half of this destroyer is blown off, it still has plenty of restores available, thanks to these 2 large lockers, which were spared. Let's see if these torpedoes can finally make it through. It's looking like unlikely. And one of them is completely out of missiles. The other one also completely out of missiles. That is all she wrote for those torpedo Ocellos. Oh, and that destroyer is now dead. I must have missed that last missile hit. In come more S2s. These don't have the same problem. And they are so fast. They're dodging a lot of the defender fire. It's taking out the drive of this destroyer. Here come more hits, though. That's going to core out the internal, put it in a bad way. Still, luckily, in a ironic twist, by being broadside on, these destroyers have survived where they would have otherwise died. Let's see what these mass drivers are about. Looks like they want to come play. They've seen their buddies missiling this fleet for the last 20 minutes. Now they finally want some of the action. Unfortunately, so much of the map just completely in ANS hands. Not even contested. The OSP fleet, meanwhile, is pushed back to the withdrawal line. There's not too much more space they can run to. And the line ship is being beamed. Might be okay. Oh, no, that was their 450 line ship. It is now dead. There goes the smoke. There goes the ghost. More of these S2s coming out. These are great S2s. Probably only armed with a basic seeker, but there are so many of them, and they launch in a huge wave, and there are many, many of them available. Here they come. Only a few striking that target. Looks like they actually were so fast that they could not maneuver properly in order to strike the target. Meanwhile, unfortunately, these beam destroyers, they don't know about the magic smoke. Speaking of, if you see magic smoke, not the RPF. There, you see it now. And pods coming out. Hopefully they'll be redirecting. Still having missiles fired at them. Here they're swiveling on now to this line ship, the more dangerous of the two. Still with 80 S2s remaining and another launch. This is kudos to this player. I'm sure their damage numbers are going to be just completely massive. Let's see how these fare. Well, they're not moving anymore. They're slamming into the front. That's going to be one dead DD. There it goes. And if this bunch is fired at this one, it's going to be this one dead too. Doesn't have its drive. It's going to be out for a couple minutes further. Meanwhile, more reinforcements showing up to the party. Here comes the 450 Axford. Let's see if we finally got our rail versus rail battle. We did. Out come the rails into this ship. And there go the rails into that ship. Wisely focusing on the beam DD instead of the rail Axford. Can always kill a rail Axford later. Might not be able to kill a beam DD if it beams you. Yep. Let's see if this beam battleship, what it's gone and done. Looks like it's finally driven all the way up to hit them with their sword. And will finally be beaming a target. Really unfortunate that ANS hasn't secured a cap at this point. This might actually end catastrophically for them. They've lost a lot of their fighting forces. If this one Axford isn't able to seal the deal against this missile line ship, the ANS could be in a lot of trouble. If it is able to deal with it, then it's probably fine. That single beam battleship will be able to deal with what's left, but it takes a huge hit. This OSP fleet is basically unarmed. The mass drivers don't have anywhere near the capability required to take out a beam battleship, but there are still more missiles pouring out of this line ship. It has to almost be out. No, it still has more. These are going to slam home and kill this Axford. There it goes. Perhaps a mistake to push all the way out. And continuing to be multiple ships sitting around, not capping A, which gives me a real big sad. This Axford, absolutely gutted, no chance, will die probably to the AP from this 250s. Don't sneeze at 250s that shoot you when your entire ship is gutted. They are more than capable of finishing the job. Unfortunately for the OSP side, that is the rest of their combat capability gone. They have no way to deal with this beam battleship. If it chooses to take the correct action, which is go to A, but instead it is going to engage a mass driver and fail as the line ship nimbly dodges out of the way, leaving the BB with absolutely nothing to do but coast off into empty space. Unfortunate. Taking a look at the map overall, still pains me to report that A has not been captured. However, the rest of the map lies completely within ANS hand. Some final of these missiles coming out. Looks like they're going to slam into this frigate, which essentially mission kills it. And hits again on the Axford, which is already dead as even more of them come out. Is it out of missiles yet? No. Still not enough. Meanwhile, this rail Axford is, well, it's doing something. Somehow, all of those missed. 2 of them hit. Taking a look over here at this rail ANS ship. So, unfortunately, at this point, I would say ANS is probably going to win, although they really shouldn't. This is such an overcommit of the ANS forces that if the OSP was to turn around and win this game, it would absolutely be deserved for them to push this far, this aggressively for basically no reason. But it is a video game, and shooting ships is fun, so we won't say any more about that. Definitely, both sides had some good plays and some bad plays in this match. Really, the only thing I will get upset about is no one has capped A. It's been almost 30 minutes. Please, someone go. Yes, launch all your chaff in celebration and then cap A. Thank you. Meanwhile, this battleship has finished. It managed to catch that line ship and beam it. Here come the mass drivers, going to be doing severe tickle damage to this battleship. There it is, severely tickled. A battle dressing station. Well, there it is. Meanwhile, these tugs, moving on to B, at this point, it would take... Well, we'll just go ahead and say it's going to require a 5 cap out of the OSP in order to swing the match their side. Although, they do look like they're capable of getting onto A and getting at least 2/5 of the way there. Looks like this DD has managed to necro itself up enough to beam out one of the 2 sun drives of this line ship. If it recharges far enough with the Mark 64s, which are still firing, here comes another beam that will likely pierce through, kill the other sun drive, leaving this ship stranded, unable to do anything. It is already out of missiles, but it looks like, oh, the FPA, the single FPA on this ship has been killed. So it is not able to pierce all the way down the hull to the sun drive. Might not matter, it's killed all of the, well, most of the thrusters and many main engines. Oh, and the sun drive gets knocked out at 50%, so its drive is actually out, even though it's not dead. Another beam comes in. Let's see if it flashes on the sun drive. It does not. So it will putter away.
The enemy secured zone boxer.
Meanwhile, a counter cap happening here. Looks like this frigate counts as armed because it actually is. It has Mark 62s on there, which means this Ocello has to leave or it will get killed by a double Mark 62 frigate. That's right. Get on out of here. Get on. That's right. Meanwhile, this Axford managed to zombie itself back. It has no missiles left, I'm going to guess. That is correct. But it is driving valiantly forward to capture E. Meanwhile, this rail, Axford. Well, you heard it here first, folks. Rail Axford loses to mass driver line ships. We knew that already, but here's confirmation. This is not the fight. As these line ships are actually really good at taking out, not destroying, but getting to red the weapons. Let's see what else is going on. Oh, a cheeky tug has made it all the way around to sea. Let's see if they can do anything about it. Might be too little, too late. As this... I'm not sure if this one got abandoned or what happened to it, but it is gray now. It's not gray. I'm assuming this player surrendered. Wasn't paying attention. Meanwhile, one of the mass drivers getting beamed, continuing to duke it out in the battle that shall ever be forever known as the one that did not matter because it's not anywhere near the rest of the map. Let's see what this beam battleship is up to. It's slowly puttering up towards B. For some reason has... Oh, it's only 83%. So it is just a non-flanking battleship slowly puttering towards B. So at this point, this will be episode number 2 of what an overcommit looks like. But unfortunately for the OSP team, they have no way to cap all the points. And that will slowly, ever so slowly, allow the ANS team to tick all the way up to victory.
The enemy is securing zone dagger.
Meanwhile, rails and mass drivers continue to battle until the end of everything. Really, they should be retargeting on this destroyer. They might be able to take out its beam. Instead, they continue pounding this Axford with no chance of killing it. As the beam comes out, takes out its drive. So much for maneuvering. And this DD lacking an FPA will likewise be unable to kill this line ship.
The enemy secured zone dagger.
Here comes the 4-cap, but it's not enough. And the victory goes to ANS. Well played. I have only one comment to make, and that is how unnecessary it was to push the OSP team to the boundary. Out of curiosity, let's see how many. So 2 torpedoes and 5 torpedoes. Unable to say for sure how many of these actually hit combat capable ships. I personally only saw 1 or 2. Meanwhile, 35 defeated with either soft kill or hard kill, plus another 15 missed. Oof. Look at y'all's damage. Yep. Curious. Want to see... Where are the mass drivers? Here. 3,000 and 11,000 respectively. What would the beam BB's damage? Probably close to nothing. I believe it shot 8,000. Yeah. It shot 1 line ship, 1 tug, and I think that was it. Maybe it fired Mark 65s at something else. Yeah. Overall, this was in a fine position to camp out next to the A pillar, kind of guard their central point. After capping A, that would have been ideal. Instead, it went under the map, tried to engage a mass driver, and I was successful. Just kind of weird positioning overall. I want to see the rail damage on this Axford. I think that was... No, where is it? This one? No? Where is it? Why can we not find it? Must be this one then. Yes, here it is. 1,000. What was the accuracy? 50%. 50%. Wow. I don't actually understand that. Meanwhile, the only ship to deal a good amount of damage was this one here, which looks like it got several of its S3Hs to pound into something. I can't remember. Might have been responsible for killing one of the line ships. Overall, here, a really weird comp from both sides. OSP wise, these torpedoes just right now are really lacking the ability to pierce point defense. I would not recommend them at all currently. If you want to bring missiles on the OSP, doing something like this player, who I'm sure did an absolutely absurd amount of damage. Where is he? Here, 41,000 damage with size 2s out of a line ship. This is a good build. Now we get to see them now. Semi-actives plus wakes. Excellent. Well done. And Home on Jam, ACT. All right, that makes sense for the silencers. So a build like this is good. If you want to take a little bit of utility, you can do that with the cargo container. But the S3s right now, just especially against ANS with their defenders, are just, and the stone walls, are just absolute no-go. BMDDs do great, but not in an open formation with an Axford that's just kind of charging forward. If these BMDDs had moved up, if the whole team really had moved up to the edge of pillars and just sat there until the OSP team had to come to them, they have to come to you. If you're up in points and you've pushed them off of where they want to be, you can just sit, and 5 minutes of patience will get you tons more damage. If what you want to do is do a lot of damage and kill ships, just get into a position and stop and wait for the enemy team to come into you. You get the engagements at the ranges you want. You'll do your damage. You'll kill them. I promise. There's no need to bloodlust in that situation. Let's see. As far as ways to win, OSP definitely had the ability to win. If they had backcapped, pulling back into kind of that concave was a little bit too far for my liking, but it's not necessarily bad if you have something to apply pressure and make sure that you don't just lose on points. A tug, a shuttle, something, run it around, cap C, cap D, while you fight like that. Yeah, or even one cap on C with a tug might have changed that game entirely. So, just because you have a tug and it has an early warning radar on it, don't just put it on top of the map and forget about it for the entire game. If they're pushing, if they're out of position, you can shift click that thing, run it all the way to the back above the map, and then go straight down into a point, cap it, maybe win the game like that. So, all in all, well played, both teams. That was really, really interesting seeing things like torpedoes on Ocellos. And we definitely learned some things from that.